Today, I complete the construction of the Firebox, including its roof, and I begin work on the door. Welcome to another Terranscapes video. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Mike, and I will be your host for today. And a big focus of today's video will be on the importance of right angles. And I have some trouble getting my pieces to have good right angles, and it causes me quite a bit of difficulty. I make a little save at the end, so things are always fixable, but it really stresses the importance of proper glue up and ensuring that you don't have to do extra work down the road. So let's jump over to the bench, time-lapsed. In the past, it's a flashback, and take a look at what I did. It did occur to me just a minute ago that without having a back wall that matches this, I didn't think I'd need it because it's going to butt up against a larger area that it would make fitting this over a little bit easier. Oh God, I'm going to have to. So it occurred to me that I need to put in some corner braces inside my walls of the furnace, because if I don't, when I go to put the roof on, it's going to push the walls out. So I definitely need something that's going to hold that. It might be nice to have it overhang on the sides too. That's interesting. All right, here's what I'm going to do. First, I'm going to make another one of these. So I have a back wall because I feel like without having a back wall, getting the back of the roof lined up is going to be not fun. So before we work on the roof, let's get these attached, shall we? Doing a little more work on the furnace. I thought I would bring you in at this point. Doesn't look like much has changed, but was working on cutting pieces for the roof, and when I went to put it on, I noticed that the tops of the front and back wall are toed in just a little bit at the top, and I wanted them to be straight. Because, of course, if I want this to butt up against something in the back, I don't want gaps. I mean, I can fill them, but I decided I needed to put in a centerpiece to keep these flat. And so I have cut a piece here, and after some sanding and some measurements, it fits pretty well and is the right dimensions. However, then when I was looking at it, I realized that the box itself isn't square. Now that makes me unhappy, and I'm not going to change it, but I don't know if you can see that, but it is off. See that? That's off in that corner quite a bit. Two of the corners are square, and two of the corners are off a little bit. So there's nothing I can do about that. I can't fix that. But that's one of those things that that I was talking about when I want to do a better job. So anyway, this will help hold those flat and actually give me, if I have it right right at the top of those. Wait a minute, let's try this. If I have that right at the top of the circle, the other thing I noticed is if it's a little bit too big, it's pushing out and the sides actually bow in. It's a little weird, but all right. Let's take that. It's not exactly center, but it's going to be hidden. Doesn't matter, really. That doesn't center, but I wasn't too worried about it. And so then I can butt this up against this. That's how I discovered it, actually, when I butted it up against this to ensure I could set this flush against the back. I noticed that the top wasn't actually flush. It's still not quite flush. Look at that. Just curious. Oh, that one's nice. All right, we're going to take that as the back then. And then I can press this on. How will I ensure that is centered? I will have to eyeball that. And if you know me by now, I don't like eyeballing. Okay, but let's give it a go. I can't use Plasti-Weld for this spot because it will not set up fast enough. Alright, well the furnace is running and I'm going to keep going because if I stop to deal with that, I'll never get anything done. So we're going to have a little background noise for a second. Okay. This might be a little tricky, but if it comes off, if it ends up really out of center, I could trim one side. There is a slight overhang on each side. Yeah. See, I don't like working with super glue because it's a fragile bond. Yeah. You see what happens there? All right. Well, that adds a challenge because holding that in place, I'm just going to sand a little of that super glue off. Try to Plasti-Weld it, and from now on, whatever this is, that's what I'm going to call it, Plasti-Weld. I'd have to hold it for probably like 15 minutes because it's under tension. It occurs to me that if I sand the underside here, score it a little bit, as you might say, that super glue will have a little bit more to bite on. All right, well, we're gonna try it one more time. If I can just get it tacked in place, I can add Plasti-Weld after the fact. It'll be fine. All right, let's try that. And now I can't reach my my kicker. Oh yeah, I see in the back here. It's not meeting it. Well, I can squeeze it on there, I guess. Huh. That's interesting. I think we're gonna hold. Okay. Well, it's not centered. Problem one. That is not going to be an easy trim. Maybe it was scissors? Yeesh. What I discovered, pardon the furnace still, is that actually isn't going to show because it's going to be butted up against something. There isn't going to be an overlap. Of course, what I'm noticing though is that this wall is cantered a little bit. That doesn't make me happy. Part of that is from the assembly. I noticed that, I have the front wall is a little prominent here. So I'll have to be more careful when I glue up things. Same on this side. It's not quite flush. So something to work on. I wanted this to have a double layer for the roof because layers always look more interesting. And I think I can just glue that on like so. I'm gonna scuff it up though a little bit. Standing this is I pre-bent this piece of styrene. This is 0.02, and I rolled it on the corner of my bench. And styrene has a bit of memory to it, and so it isn't pulling quite as much against, trying to detach itself. And when I cut it so that it's just looks like a little under a 1/16 maybe overlap. And so I'd like it to match it on this side, which will be showing actually. And I think that's going to be okay. So sand this flush, and then I'm going to start work on the door for the furnace, and we'll come back in a little bit and we'll see how that's progressed. So I was pretty disappointed, very disappointed with the body construction of the Firebox and it not being square. It meant that I had to do extra work, quite a bit, sanding that side down. I got lucky that I was able to do that based on the design, but that was definitely lucky. Putting in the right angles in interior to help align the walls, I think, is a good idea, but I need to make sure that they're actually at least close to a 90-degree angle to the wall, because if they skitter, right, they can start sliding out of alignment. Can they? Geometry. Thinking about it, actually, I'm trying to understand. I don't think I could have those right angles touching both the floor and the wall and not have it be square, even if it's a little, skittish. Even if it was tipped, it should still be a right angle, so I should be okay. But I was thinking I should make them bigger as well. So it's important learning, because I get to do that learning on a small piece, and when I'm going to have to do it more on a much larger section of the engine, where those kinds of tolerances are going to be more important. And also, I don't want to have creep in the measurements. So better to learn it now with my little Firebox than to get that out of the way. Don't forget, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this at all. So if you've ever wondered, I don't know how to do that, you know what? Neither do I. So if I can troubleshoot it and work through it, so can you. So that's part of what I like to show you when I show you my mistakes. I want you to be inspired to do it yourself. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have to problem solve, but it's possible. And part of that is fun to do. So there's that. Questions and comments down below, always, of course. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see my next video, you can subscribe. And if you want to become a patron to support this channel and maybe get some bonus content, you can become a patron here. And in the next video, I am going to be working on the little power doodads that go on top of the furnace. And I'm going to come up with a name for all of these things probably very soon, because I can't keep calling them doodads. And I might put together a little story, a little background that kind of explains what all these things are and names them, so that way I can tell you what they are rather than just saying doodad all the time. So that's coming. Hopefully you come back to see me put on those doodads, because you know that I will be back soon with another Terranscapes video. And I begin to work. Oh, damn it. Come on, Mike. Man. That coffee, man, has made my mouth so dry. All right, we're going to do that again. All right, fuck it. Just give me this right here. Right here. I know. It's over that mic. That's a terrible thing to do.